on my laptop camera. Hey everybody, welcome to the YouTube Live. We've got a number of you online already. We'll be monitoring the chat as we go as well. Dave Edwards and I are both here live. We have other board members who will be joining on the YouTube. But please, as we go through, we've got a fairly robust presentation on how this is going to work for folks, what the deed, each of the agreements look like, and kind of the process. And apologize again for the technical issues last time. We're here in my office in Bountiful, and we're plugged into directly to the router. So hopefully we'll be doing okay. Can people hear us all right? Let us know in the chat. Hopefully everybody can hear us okay. I'm going to try and share my screen. Oh, Linda says thank you. Yes, Jeremy, thank you both. Okay.
Perfect.
I'm going to try and do this like we did last time and hopefully be able to share our meeting notes on the YouTube Live. So I'm hoping this works okay. Dave, are you able to see it? There we go.
Yeah. Can you do presentation view on that?
I think so. Let's see if it works.
There we go.
All right. Well, they can't see the presentation view, but they can see everything else. So maybe we'll just do it this way and call it good.
It just is a delay to get that view.
Oh, is it? All right, let's try it again.
And we'll get started.
You can
because
tell
it's difficult to read when you can't see the entire screen. I think it'll just take a second to populate over here.
Let's see what happens here.
Let's go ahead and get started. First of all, again, I'm Dave Edwards. I'm your board president, Tucker Hodgson, board member. We're in Bountiful, and the focus of tonight's meeting is strictly related to the sale of the resort, the deeds, and a few housekeeping items. We want to make sure we're clear that we're probably lost in translation from the technical difficulties we had with our last meeting.
Yeah, it's not sharing the presentation, unfortunately.
Okay, let's go ahead and just go into the slides then. So again, we welcome you. We appreciate those that are interested enough to go to attend and be part of this meeting. The information we're going to present tonight is what will it take to get the sale completed of the resort, and what are next steps for each of you as owners. That's our goal, is that this session will give you all the information you need to get your questions answered and be prepared to have your deed work and title work completed in preparation for the sale of the resort. So to start with, we have, as you've understood in previous meetings, a number of title problems, a number of issues with owners who are in arrear, who own their units and are far behind on payments. And we have, in order to complete the sale of the resort, we have to have clear title. To that end, Tucker has worked for a year now in preparation, doing title work to have us have a clear understanding of where we are on every title for every one of the 1,664 weeks that we have deeded, and we have that information. And so our last meeting, our annual meeting, we were able to present to you that we knew where we were, we know where the title work needs to be done, we know what will have to be completed in order to complete the sale. To that end, we had some hard news for a lot of people, meaning if you owe the association money, we are foreclosing on you. We don't have a choice. In order to sell the resort, we have to have titles. In order to get your title, if you're not going to pay, there's only two choices. You'll either have to give us your deed back and we'll clear your account to zero, or we'll have to legally foreclose on you and sue you for the cost of the foreclosure, as well as to get the title to your week. In order for us to prepare to have that title as part of the 1,664 that we will close on with a potential buyer. So again, we are actively working to foreclose on units and to clear title on units every day. Tucker's doing that work. One of the things that I'll reiterate from our last meeting, from our annual meeting, is this. Believe me, as a board, it's no fun for us to be in a position where we're coming to you, our friends, our relatives in many cases, and owners, and say we have no choice but to foreclose on your account. And then saying to you, please don't force us to foreclose. Please just deed your unit back to the association. We'll wash away the numbers. You won't get anything when the units sell, but you also won't get your credit damaged, and you won't have to go through the process to have essentially us suing you over the debt. that's a tough thing to do when it's your neighbors and friends and again relatives. For many of us, tough position, but it's the only position we have, the only thing we're able to do to try to get these titles cleared.
Yeah, we have to work for the best of every owner, and that's the only way we have. We don't have time to wait. Things just need to start happening.
And again, these decisions that we've made, as you saw in our annual meeting, are decisions made with our legal counsel, guiding us on what our duties are to every owner. And just as a reminder, we have a duty to every owner, whether you're in arrears or whether you're current, or no matter what your situation is. Each of you are in our thought processes and in our decision making as we work as a board to try to get through this difficult situation. It doesn't make you an enemy because you owe the association money or you haven't been able to pay money for years. It does put us again in that awkward position where we have to go collect that money from you or take your week away from you.
You have to get the deed back one way or another, yeah.
To that end, each of you has to weigh then what your decision is. Do I give my week back or do I try to come current? There's a lot of people that owe us $10,000 or more. And we can't tell you what the eventual proceeds will be of a sale. We don't have that information to people have continued to say, how do I weigh that out? We can't give you a number of what we will get at the eventual sale of the resort, of what your week might be worth once that everything's done and paid for. The only thing we can tell you is that all of the board members have paid everything and we're current and we're hopeful, but there's no promises here. And we ask you, please don't ask us, what am I going to get when the resort's sold? Because we don't know yet. We're hopeful, but that's the best we could say. Anything else would be a disservice to you to tell you, oh, you can expect this amount of money and then it doesn't perform. There's no guarantee of anything at this point until we have a sale. We're hopeful and we're working toward it. But each of you that are in arrears would have to weigh it out for yourselves as to whether you want to pay to come current or whether you want to turn your weekend and wash things, walk away from the resort so that we can complete the sale. The final thing on that process that I wanted you to be aware of before Tucker sort of deep dives this is this. We do believe that the sale of the resort is going to go forward. We believe the resort in its condition and in its interest now is saleable, and we have people interested that we're actively negotiating with right now. As recently as last Friday, we were in conversations with a potential buyer. Nothing signed. There's no promises of anything. We want you to know we're actively working on this and working on the resort itself. We're ensuring that the resort doesn't go into complete disrepair. In fact, this last, we'd offer a thank you, a really heartfelt thank you to Kathy Hillstead and Gary with continuing to work with and monitor the resort with us. Gary was just on site over the last few weeks because we were concerned about the condition of the pool because it hadn't been cleaned and the treatments done to it to keep it from becoming stained and or giving off foul odors or having problems that way. And we had the pool acid washed and cleaned to keep the resort in good repair. We're checking on the resort and we're confident that we know that we're shut down in a state where the resort's viable, but we're monitoring it. Last but not least would be a thank you to all of the owners who have reached out and continue to reach out. I've had a lot of owners calling me that are angry, a lot of owners calling me that are just want information. My phone number is on the website. Please call me. It's Dave Edwards. You can reach me anytime. And even if you're angry with what we're doing, we want to hear your opinion and learn from you what your issues and needs are, because it helps us as a board to make decisions and to choose a direction as we're making decisions on your behalf as owners and the owner group. And if we disagree, we disagree, but we'll always listen to you. Please feel free to reach out. I guess final, as we turn over Tucker, is to give you some history on Tucker. Tucker is a 25-year plus title professional, partial owner of a title company, and is an expert in these matters, teaches college courses on how to do title work for up and coming title employees and title research assistants. So we're in good hands, and we're lucky to have Tucker on the board. He's been able to do this work and give us good advice. And in concert with our realtor and our attorney, we feel like we're in good hands. from here on out, it's Tucker to tell you what we need to do to take care of title work.
Yeah, you bet. You can kind of see on our screen here, there we have a process for owners here. It's great if you can contact Kathy Coco of our member committee. Let us know what your plans are. Are you going to stick with the resort? Can you do a deed in lieu of foreclosure, or do you want a deed for equity agreement? We'll go through what each of those agreements means tonight. It's also a great idea to just confirm your account status. Like if you have paid the special assessment, it's appropriate to ask, what do your records say about what I have paid? That's a completely okay thing to do. If you've had a change in circumstances, like a husband or a wife, a spouse, or a co-owner pass away, let me know about that. There's most of the time there's easy solutions to that. It's just preparing a couple of documents and getting things recorded. So that email again is powderridgedeeds@gmail.com. That you'll see that email over and over again. The account status email again is powderridgevillageut@gmail.com. And we haven't done this yet, but we will be monitoring the chat as we go through. For just background information, we have about 500 people in arrears. Oh, let me see how that works. Hold on one second, folks. Let me see. Get into the YouTube.
Maybe full, but
yeah, I don't see how to let more folks in.
they may be talking about the last meeting.
Okay, sorry about that.
So.
Okay, I'm going to keep going. 145 of our folks, from what we have, are behind on the special assessment only. So for those of you who are wondering what that debt looks like for the special assessment, at the end of August, it'll be around $3,800, right around there. That's what it would take to come current at this point. Again, we need to secure title for every deed. We've already gone over that. If you don't give us a deed in lieu of foreclosure and we're forced to foreclose, you'll be responsible for the debt owed plus the foreclosure costs, like David talked about. And those costs get pretty expensive pretty quickly because we have to foreclose through the judicial court. Our timeshares, for those we have a few owners who have filed bankruptcy in the past, and I'm sure they've been told that their bankruptcy wiped away any debt to the association. One thing about that is our timeshares are considered real property. Okay, and the debt to the association may have been wiped out, especially through a Chapter 7 bankruptcy at that time. But because we're a timeshare and these weeks are deeded, the post-bankruptcy payments for assessments and special assessments have continued to accrue after your bankruptcy. So unless there's a specific order in your bankruptcy excusing you from further debts from Powder Ridge Village, there still is an obligation there. So we can still take a deed in lieu of foreclosure in that situation, where that would be the best situation for everyone. But generally, a Chapter 7 bankruptcy does not extinguish secured debts that are ongoing, like they are for our resort. Please pay us the amount owed if you can. If you can't, again, the deed in lieu is the best choice. So let's look at some of these options and for some of the agreement types and what they'll actually say. So if you're behind, there's the deed in lieu of foreclosure. We're going to look at that form, and a quitclaim deed. Once we receive that deed in lieu of foreclosure and quitclaim deed, as soon as it's recorded, the association will waive whatever debt is owed, and you'll not be responsible for anything else after that. The other option is foreclosure. That's it. This is it. Foreclosure or give us a deed back in lieu of foreclosure. So let's look at this deed in lieu of foreclosure agreement. It's pretty simple agreement. It's 2 pages long. The bulk of it is 2 pages long, and I'm just going to run through it with you so you know what it says. Also, if you want your deed in lieu of foreclosure agreement, you can obviously review it before you sign anything. We're happy to email it along with the quitclaim deed. Here's what it looks like. The top of the document literally says deed in lieu of foreclosure agreement. Then it will have the time period you own. It names the parties. That's the association, and that's you as an owner. It talks about the property being in Weber County, and then it starts going through the recitals of the agreement. Okay, the first recital is about conveyance of the property. It says, hey, you agree to give us a properly notarized quitclaim deed. The association will prepare that deed for you. We have an announcement about C. It says owner to pay all associated doc prep and recording fees. We actually voted as a board after our annual meeting. We're not going to charge owners recording fees and doc prep fees for anybody who gives us any type of deed, a deed in lieu of foreclosure, a deed transfer agreement, or a deed for equity agreement. We're going to pick up the recording and doc prep costs. It's just the right thing to do, and hopefully it will save us some time. Here's the debt waiver section of it. It goes through and it says, again, the association will waive and release the owner for liability for all past dues, assessment, late fees, interest collection costs, and related charges. Okay. We don't know whether or not we're going to have to issue a 1099. If with a debt waiver, we're figuring that out with our attorney and then getting some tax advice. But either way, a small amount of debt waived on a 1099 is much less than the foreclosure costs that you will be liable through foreclosure. So I don't know that we're going to have to do 1099s. If we do, you'll have that, but that's something that
for us to claim it as a loss, we have to report it.
Yes, as an income, potential income from you.
Yeah.
There's an acknowledgement and indemnity. This says that the deed that you're signing is not a closing for real estate. Okay, there has not been a professional title search, and this is not a closing. This is a deed a deed in lieu of foreclosure agreement. So it says any third parties are going to be waived. This is between you and the association only. Okay. Number 4 talks about owner's assertion as to judgments and liens. In Utah, if you have a lien that's filed in Weber County, if it's a state tax lien or a federal tax lien or some sort of judgment, some of those attach to real property. And again, our timeshare is considered real property. So this statement says that to the best of your knowledge, you don't have any liens. If you are aware that you do, let us know and we can work through a solution and probably get a release from that from the creditor. Okay, the value of that timeshare isn't worth most creditors pursuing anyway. It talks about a future cooperation for title resolution. If there are other problems that predate your ownership, you may get a call from us saying, hey, we're going to resolve this title issue from the past. So you might be hearing from it. We won't be coming after you. We're just going to ask you for help in what you may know. Okay, we've selected a title company and recording agency to do these things, and then the general provisions are just the standard boilerplate language about governing law, time is of the essence, and things like that. After that, there's a signature page. It'll have a notary block on it, just like your deed will, and then there'll be an additional page with the legal description for your time period. That's what it looks like. In that same package, there's an accommodation form from the title company. The title company considers this clearing title in preparation of a sale. Sorry, Dave, the camera is operable on my laptop, not that one that we have connected. Hopefully no one's looking at my nose too bad. But yeah, it comes from the title company. The deed will actually be stamped as an accommodation as well, because it's not a closing, it's to clear title. It's to clear title. Okay. Here's an example of what a quitclaim deed looks like that comes from the association. The deed itself has no indication on it, and this is the only thing that becomes a public record of whether or not this is a deed in lieu of foreclosure or is this a deed for equity agreement. Okay, no one needs to know that except for you, the owner, and us, the association. That other part of the agreement stays private. The quitclaim deed is a conveyance from your interest into the association's name. Okay. You'll notice in the bottom left-hand corner, there is an accommodation stamp there from the title company, and then it does need to be signed with a notary. For those of you who have multiple weeks, own multiple interests, the legal description will be attached after the signature page, so you'll be able to see that. Okay, so that's how our deed in lieu of foreclosure agreement works. You'll receive those forms in one packet. You can print them off yourself and go get them notarized and mail them back. We need the originals back to the association, to our PO box. And again, that information will come with the packet as it's emailed to you. If you need notary services on any of these things, if you live along the Wasatch Front, you can drop by at Backman Title Services. Let me know if you can beforehand so I can make sure that they'll have a notary present, but there's no charge for that. And they can get the original deeds to me, and you won't have to worry about mailing those. Okay, I'm going to continue because we don't want this meeting to last too long. How are we doing with comments, Dave? Are we okay so far?
Looks like we're okay.
Okay. Here's our exciting news. The association is covering document preparation fees for owners who sign agreements and deeds. Most of the time, for most owners, that's a $75 savings. You know, $50 for recording fees and $25 to the company who's preparing the documents for us. It's kind of a limited time offer. We don't know how long that's going to go, but we're hoping we can put a $75 saving carrot out there and get more people to sign. For owners who are current, let's move on to that. There's two options. There's a voluntary deed transfer that says, I just want to be done. I don't want to hear from you guys ever again. Just get me out of here and refund my special assessment payment when there's money for that at the very end of things. The other agreement is the deed for equity agreement, and that one's going to be the most common, and we're going to go through what the deed for equity agreement looks like here in just a second. Okay, that entitles you to the pro rata share of net proceeds after the closing. Obviously, net proceeds means after all the costs are paid, all the closing costs, all the title wrap-up costs, foreclosure costs, whatever there might be, that's what net proceeds mean. The deed for equity form is still simple. It's a 3-page document. There's an additional page for signatures and legal descriptions, but the majority of it is just in 3 pages, the legal part of it. So let's go through that really quickly. It starts out the same as the deed in lieu of foreclosure agreement. It names the parties. It has the parcel numbers. Then the differences start in the recitals, in the whereas. Okay, it says the association's winding down. We've entered an agreement to sell the resort. It says pursuant to our governing documents, and it actually names the section of our covenants, conditions, and restrictions that talks about sale of the resort. And it talks about how much equity portion each individual owner gets, again, according to the square footage of the unit that they own, just like we talked about in the annual meeting. And it says the owner is going to exchange their deeded timeshare interest for an equity stake in the net proceeds of the sale, just like we've talked about all this time. The next section talks about how the property will be conveyed. It says the association is going to prepare the quitclaim deed, and we're responsible for recording that at the recorder's office. C, again, it says the owner is going to pay the document preparation and recording fees. We're waiving that right now. So as an owner signing a deed for equity agreement, especially if you can get it back to us quickly, we're going to pay for those fees. The association is going to pay for them. There's an acknowledgement, it says, of consideration and future claims. It says, hey, you're waiving right to future appreciation, additional compensation. What that basically means is if for some reason the value of the resort in 10 years increases tenfold, after the sale, we're done. Like there's no ongoing cost. This isn't an annuity that will continually pay for you. Okay, and it also says you agree with the value of your equity stake in accordance with our proportional ownership records maintained by the association and our governing documents again. Number 3 is important. It's the acknowledgement that the special assessment paid on time will be reimbursed at the time of sale. Again, for those owners who are current, it's a great idea to just check your account status with that email to Powder. I think it's Powder Ridge UT, but that'll come up again. It's appropriate to check your account status. Nothing wrong with doing that. There's an acknowledgement in number 4 of costs and fees. It just talks about what some of these fees are to sell the resort. Okay, real estate commission, legal fees, accounting, title, and escrow fees, and other fees. There's also the ongoing costs of maintaining the resort, things like water and power and insurance and things like that, that obviously will come out of the sale proceeds. We may need to establish a reserve fund after the sale of the resort, so there may be two disbursements. One big one, and then if we do have to have a reserve fund, there'll be an additional disbursement as soon as we're legally able to empty the full account for our nonprofit corporation. The association has chosen an escrow agent or settlement agent to do that. The quitclaim deed is going to be held and recorded by the escrow agent, not by the association themselves. The owner is saying, hey, my equity portion is true and correct according to how I understand it. And again, there's another statement there about a 1099-S form, potentially receiving that. Again, we're getting advice from our attorney and from our tax professionals about what that might look like. Okay, the 1099 obviously won't be for the full price of the resort for everyone. The maximum will be is for your equity stake in the resort. This is for our foreign owners. There are a number of foreign owners. There is a law in the United States called FIRPTA, the Foreign Investment and Real Property Transfer Tax Act. I know it's kind of a mouthful. Foreign owners, because this is deeded real property, they may be required to register with the IRS through the FIRPTA program. The interesting way this works is if there is a foreign buyer and the buyer hasn't registered, the buyer needs to retain 15% of the sales price of the property in case of taxes. So we're working again with the accounting and legal professionals to figure out what exactly does that mean for our owners. Is a deed for equity agreement the same as a real property sale? We're still working through those issues, but this part in number 8 just acknowledges that there may be FIRPTA things that our foreign owners have to comply with. And if that is the case, we're going to send you to the right place to register and to try and get those fees lessened as a foreign owner. We can't, unfortunately, none of us can control the IRS as much as we would like to. Number 9 talks about liability waivers. This again is the association and board members. We're doing our best, and it releases the liability for third-party vendors who we've engaged to help us do these agreements and record documents with the county. Number 10 is specifically about the distribution of net proceeds, how that works again. I think this is a repeat from what we saw earlier. And then section 11 is just the general provisions, how those work, how we follow our governing documents, the laws of the state of Utah, and that these things will survive closing and things like that, just standard boilerplate language. Attached to the deed for equity agreement will be the exact same quitclaim deed that folks will receive for their deed in lieu of foreclosure agreement. There are a couple of other documents that you'll see. One of them is in a payment instruction form. So this is to fill out by the owner and signed by the owner. It'll have a signature block there as well. And it says, when this is all done, here's where to mail my proceeds. Now, it might seem a little bit archaic that we're going to mail you your proceeds rather than do things in a wire or some of ACH transaction. But as a title professional, I know that the propensity for wire fraud and for someone trying to steal your money is very high. Believe it or not, the safest way to transfer money is still through the U.S. mail. So that's how you'll get your check. We're not going to send a wire. We won't do an ACH. It will be a check. And then attached to that, obviously, is our warning about financial fraud and how we're not asking owners for money, and how to verify any communication is appropriate.
So that was a mouthful, and we're getting some questions about some of these issues. One of the questions is just simply, will we get copies of what we're supposed to sign at a title company before we have to sign? Yes, we'll get all the documents. You'll be able to review them. You'll not only get copies that you sign and get notarized, but you'll get a copy of what you sign when you complete that process, so that you have a copy for your records as well.
And we're maintaining physical copies of everything in the files for the resort as well. So there's a number of owners who have already signed deed for equity agreements and deed in lieu of foreclosure agreements. They're right downstairs in my office here. And again, everybody gets copies. There's
another comment from that's relevant here. It's one of our owners, Jeff, says, "I've been waiting for my deed for equity agreement since March. When can I expect it?"
Yeah.
Well, it's prepared, but Jeff, there's a chance that we don't have the correct information for you.
And Jeff, I actually think I got an email from you today asking that same question to the Powder Ridge Deeds. So up until the first part of July, I have not been very good about responding to emails, and I'm still catching up. But now that we're at this point where we know where we are, you're going to get emails, especially if you email the accounts team to check your balance and say, my plan is to participate in the sale, or my plan is to do a deed in lieu of foreclosure. those emails get forwarded to me, and I work on them as quickly as I can. I can do, several at a time. Generally in the evenings or on the weekends is the time those will get done. I'll try and do it during work hours as well, but sometimes my real job needs me. Okay, can I go ahead and go forward, Dave?
Well, let me just, one of the questions again was about some of the issues you'll get to, but one owner says, I have my wife's death certificate, a copy of my original quitclaim deed, an affidavit of trusteeship. Many of these forms need to be notarized before I mail them to you. What address do I send it to? So we have the address for the deeds posted on the website, but we'll give it to you right now if everybody can get ready to write the address down.
And it's actually on the screen right now at the very top of this form on the left-hand side.
It's very small and it's difficult for us to see it on that screen. If you can zoom into that.
Let's see if I can do that.
That'll help them get it resolved.
Oops. Technology's hard sometimes, right? Okay. It's P.O. Box 851, Bountiful, Utah. And the zip code is 84011. Here we go. 84011.
And Kathy just posted it in the chat for anybody. You can refer to the chat and copy it down from there. That's the chat for this meeting, the live chat.
Yep, that address is also on our website, and it'll be on the email that you receive with the document packet. I make sure to put it in the body of the email too, with instructions about how to do that. Now, if you want to send things through FedEx, we have one owner up in Canada who says, I don't trust the mail. I would rather send this through a courier service like FedEx or UPS. I can give you the address of my physical office here in Bountiful. It's about a block and a half away from the post office. Just say, hey, I want to send this through FedEx, and I'll give you that address. I'll tell it to you now. It's easy.
Let's go ahead and post it in the chat.
Yeah.
Hang on just a moment. I'll get in there.
Yeah. It's in Bountiful, Utah again. The zip code's going to be a little bit different. But you can mail it to Backman Title Services, care of Tucker. You don't even have to put my last name because there's only one of me around. The address again is 150 North Main Street, Suite 150, Bountiful, Utah, and the zip code is 84010 this time. I'm gonna pause my thing and I'll type it in the chat here, Dave, if that's okay. Sorry, folks, I can't talk and type at the same time. I can barely do one thing at a time. Okay, there it is in the chat. All right, let me get back to my screen. How are we doing so far with questions? Are we doing okay so far?
Yeah, I think we've got most of the questions covered.
Great. Again, attached to the deed for equity agreement, there's the instructions about where to mail your check when this is all done. Again, we're a couple years at least away from closing on the resort, so it's a long-term play. You'll have that same exact accommodation form as the deed for equity agreement, folks, and that's basically it for our two forms that we went over. I didn't post the the voluntary deed transfer, but the agreement's basically the same thing. You're trading a deed to the association in return for not being bothered anymore, and you're instructing us the exact same way about getting a reimbursement for your special assessment. That's the gist of how that works.
Can we throw a couple of questions at you now?
Of course, yeah.
So one of the questions we had at the annual meeting that was brought up to me after the annual meeting was what happens to get into the titles? I sign the title over to you and over to the association. The association has the title. What if there's a problem with the sale? How do I get the title back, or how do I retain that interest in my title?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our attorney, Jeff, went over that, and it was probably difficult to hear if you weren't in the room. but attorney for the association says you are trading your deed or your title to the property in foreign equity, and the written agreement between you and the association makes the association liable for that. Well, it's a trade. It's a trade. It's potential equity versus your title. That's how it works. The agreement, because it is a legal agreement, does create obligation for the association to reimburse you for the special assessment and to give you net proceeds when those funds are available. That's the whole thing. You are giving up your deed. Yep, you are giving up your association or your timeshare deed. Okay, hopefully that's a great question. We can also refer you to, we can get a written opinion about that from our attorney if you'd like us to, but that's what was shared in the owner meeting for the folks in person.
And we have a question from someone in Canada saying, can documentation be emailed them in Canada?
Yeah.
We can email you everything, then you can print it off there, have it notarized there, but then the physical copies actually have to be FedExed or emailed to us.
Yeah, we have to have the original. So yeah, FedEx or mailed to us. Yeah, we can't take an email copy to record at the county. They require the originals. So yeah, original documents is best. And again, after everything is recorded, we will give you a copy of everything that you've signed and everything the association has signed, including both whatever form or whatever avenue, if it's a deed for equity or a deed in lieu, the association signs that agreement as well, and we'll email that back to you so you have a copy of it. Yep, that's a great question.
A couple of people have reached out on the chat and said I had a problem with my weeks at closing, different things. Please email us about those now.
Yeah.
To the Powder Ridge UT Powder Ridge Village UT at gmail.com. That address will be monitored and we'll answer and try to resolve any issues you have. And then there was another one. What happens if we can't find the original deed?
So if the deed has been recorded at the county, I have it. So part of this whole year in getting the titles straight is me going and downloading 4,500 different deeds from Weber County. So if the deed has been recorded, I have it. There are a number of owners whose deeds were never recorded. So if you're an original owner from the 80s or early 90s, you'll be hearing from me if I can't find a deed into your name. If you have something from a company called All Year Paradise and it has a recording stamp, or excuse me, it does not have a recording stamp, but it is an original deed, we're going to need to record that at the county to perfect the title for you. Okay. The other entity that we're really concerned about is called Powder Mountain Properties. Powder Mountain Properties in about 2005 had title to about 1,200 of our weeks. Okay, somewhere around 1,000 to 1,200, and there are a number of owners who have been great owners and paying for years and years, but the conveyance from Powder Mountain Properties to their owner at that time was not recorded at the county. And I know a lot of these deeds exist because I have copies of them from the physical files at the resort. There's just no record of them being recorded with Weber County. So for owners, again, if your deed was from All Year Paradise or Powder Mountain Properties, we're going to contact you. The association knows that you are the owner. You've been paying the dues. You've been enjoying the resort. We recognize that. These other companies have nothing to do with your ownership of the week. So we are working with the principals of those companies to try and get those things solved. But in the meantime, again, if you have the original deed, or if you hear from us and we say, hey, there's a problem from Powder Mountain Properties or All Year Paradise, if you have that original deed somewhere, let us know, and that might solve a problem pretty quickly.
We've got a couple of more questions I think will be helpful.
Yeah.
One of them from Marius Englishman in New York, and he's, what is the timeline until foreclosures begin? About 6 months ago they began the process, and we are actively moving toward foreclosures right now.
Yeah.
The process for us was to clarify who owed what, clarify the status of the title, and begin to move forward with those pieces. And it is moving forward. Really, since December, we've been on that path.
So, you know, we've already met with a foreclosure attorney, and they are prepared to start. Once we start down the path of turning over weeks to the attorney, the legal fees begin to add up at that minute.
These meetings that we're having right now are to let people know that owe us money, that you can avoid all of that if you'll just work with us, either deed it back, let us know what you're doing, try to work through it to avoid the hits to your credit, all those things that come with this process. Please work with us, because it is in process and moving forward. Again, we can't sell the resort till we have the titles in hand.
Yeah, one of the issues about hitting credit, I want to address that a little bit. The association, we don't choose whether or not it hits credit, quote unquote, or not. Once a collection action is filed at the district court, the credit reporting agencies monitor those. It's not like we're going to Equifax or TransUnion or whoever and saying, hey, here's an owner that's in arrears. We're not doing that. It just happens as a consequence of filing an action with the court. There's nothing we can do to stop that. So, you know, if we could do this, if we could do a foreclosure without affecting credit, that would be something we would look at. But unfortunately, through this judicial process, there's nothing we can do to stop that. So please, if you can't come current on what you owe the association, give us a deed back in lieu of foreclosure, and none of that will happen. None of that will happen.
We're, like I say, we still know that we're dealing with our friends and people that we've sat in the hot tub with. All of us as a group of owners a lot of us are friends, and quite a few of us, when we look at the deeds, are actually relatives and families that have multiple weeks that enjoy vacationing at the resort in blocks of time with their extended family. The process is not fun for us to have to go through legal action to collect, but we have no choice. Another question here was, are we supposed to wait for a transfer package from you now? I think the first thing we want to do is be able to establish connection with you and verify your account right now by email. We want to talk to you right now. Please reach out to us at the email addresses that we've posted, or at our email, and say, I'm an owner, I own this week. What's the process? And we'll immediately start to begin a document exchange with you right there to move forward and find out what your preferences are or what your concerns are and start to work through them.
Yep, I put up those emails here on the screen. Hopefully the YouTube updates here pretty quick, but account status and balance again is powderridgevillageut@gmail.com. And, if there's been a change in circumstance or you have a question about the title to your individual owner, powderridgedeeds@gmail.com. That comes right to me. And I think Kathy Coco, who mans our Powder Ridge Village UT Gmail, she's pretty quick on the draw. I'll get back to you as quick as I can. I think I've got about 5 or 6 emails from the last couple of days that I still need to answer here as quickly as I can. All right. What other questions do we have from our group here? I'm going to go back to this. I want to talk about deed signing events. So for those that are along the Wasatch Front specifically, we are doing some deed signing events. So you can come to these deed signing events. The first one is next Monday. It's the 18th at Backman Title in Midvale, Utah. The address is up on the screen, and this is again posted on the Facebook page, and I think we're posting it on the website as well. Between 5:30 and 7:30, I will be there. We'll have an additional notary from Backman Title there that can bring your ID, obviously, for the notary purposes, but we can have your agreements prepared right there. You can sign them as we go. There might even be a drink for you. The next day on August 19th, it'll be the same process at Backman Title's Provo office off of Edgewood Drive. It's right up against the mountain there in Provo. Bountiful is the next Monday, the 25th. Again, I'll be here. There's another owner here who works with me at Backman Title, and he and I are both planning on being there to help as many owners as we can to sign over their deeds and to sign their agreements.
And you're all notaries.
And we are all notaries, yes. I'm a notary, and the other owner's a notary as well. So the notary services will be free. We can handle everything right there, and get you back what you need as an owner. Again, August 26th is our Ogden office there at Backman Title. And depending on how these go, we'll probably do more of these into September and into the fall. We'll have additional deed signing events. If you can't make it, or if you're not along the Wasatch Front, that's okay too. We can email you these things, or if you are along the Wasatch Front and you can't make it, or if you're in St. George, I can send your stuff to you. You can take it to the Backman Title office in St. George or in Layton or something like that. Just, communicate with us, and we can arrange for that to happen. We have a few owners who have a difficult time in getting around. I've gone to 3 or 4 owners' homes in the last few weeks to get their deeds and their agreements signed. If you're unable to drive, or if it's not safe for you to drive, or you have some other health issues, let us know. We can arrange a notary. It'll either be me or someone else coming to your house to get your stuff signed. We're trying to make it as easy as we can for our owners. Obviously, because I have a regular job, we've got to fit things around the schedule. So it may not be same day service, but it'll probably be same week service on a lot of these things, and we'll make arrangements. I've already driven to Elkridge. I've driven to North Ogden and Farmington just for owners in the last week or so. So we can make that happen.
One thing to remember is none of us can complete the sale of this resort or be paid out anything until we have these titles complete. And that is why we're doing this. And the other question I'd like to answer is this, the question of why are we doing this? Why haven't we hired a company to do it? Why is your board doing this in association with an attorney and with a realtor and those pieces? Just to reiterate, again, the reason we're doing it is because what we've seen in the industry is the associate, and this is happening all over. I just heard of another one that this is happening to today, where the resort is no longer viable in its timeshare form. The companies that come in and do this, they're not in a big hurry to get it done like we are to get our money. The companies do it, make money from completing the process. And the longer the process goes, the more money they make and the less you get at the end of the sale. Now, I get it. There are reputable companies out there and some are not, and that's not representative for everybody in the industry. But at the end of the day, the ones that we're aware of, essentially when the owners get done, there's no money left to pay the owners. And sometimes the owners end up owing money after everything's done. The title work's done, the resort sells. It still didn't cover all the fees and expenses. We felt this was the only path that we could take to ensure the best result in trying to get the owners whatever money we can through the eventual sale of the property. That's why you're seeing us as a title professional and your board working with attorneys to guide us through this process, and working with our realtor to guide us through these processes of the sale and of the down or unwinding of the resort, because we think it's the most profitable for each of us as owners.
Yeah, unfortunately for us, we thought we were competent enough to do it on our own. And that is a blessing for everybody and kind of a curse for us at the same time, to be honest with you. There's a ton of work that happens behind the scenes with each of our owners. We have a couple questions about what if I can't make it that night? Can I show up in the morning or the evening? Do I need to make an appointment or just show up? It would be best if you can let us know what you're coming to. Hey, I'm available to come to Provo, or I can come to Bountiful on this date. If you email me at that Powder Ridge Deeds email, again, I'll put it up on the screen here in just a minute, I can make arrangements for a notary to be there, or I will be there in person, right? If there's a separate notary who's not me or not the other owner who's a notary, they're probably not going to know what's going on with the resort. They're just going to be there to stamp the documents for you and check your ID. And so if you have questions, I'm hoping to be able to meet you in person. A question on there: are we supposed to wait for a transfer package from you? Well, yeah. Let us know what your plans are, and we can get that transfer package to you. I've built a system, like as part of the title searching, just over the last year. For every unit, I already have quick claim deeds prepared, and I built a little tool that will automatically create whatever agreement you choose to have. It creates it in about 3 or 4 seconds. So as I have time, the hardest thing right now is crafting the email to respond saying, I want to do this. That's what's taking, it's not preparing the agreements. It's not preparing the quitclaim deed. It's actually me typing the email. Hi, Bob, thanks for your email. Here's how to return the deed, and here's an answer to your specific question. As far as the document preparation for everything, it's pretty darn quick. Yeah.
One of the things that we need to make sure is that we have your contact information. If you haven't already received an email from us talking about these issues, please email us on the email addresses that you see on the screen again.
So
outeridgevillageut@gmail.com. That one of the things that you don't know is in the background we have a committee of people working under the direction of Kathy Coco, who's our advisory board committee chair, working to help locate owners and make contact with them. If you know of someone that's your friend or family member that has a week, please help us get in contact with them to complete these processes. A lot of owners that are in arrears have lost contact with us, and their contact information is no longer valid. Some owners that have had life events have lost contact with us, and we don't have good email addresses for them. That's one of the obstacles we're working to take care of. And so with the last part of that would be, again, to say thank you to all of you that are active and attending this meeting and working to help us resolve this. And especially, again, to say thank you to Kathy Coco and those that have worked in the background, Kamal Mehta and Deborah Engelsman, and the different groups that have been working on solutions from the moment we knew that we were in trouble, and working to help our association weather this storm and come out the best that we possibly can as we jump through these hoops. We may be reaching out to you to ask for help with this project of contacting owners as we go through the processes. And again, we just appreciate the fact that you're willing to participate and willing to join us in this adventure that we're on. So,
yep. When you come to these deed signing parties, if you can do that, again, let us know. We can have the documents prepared. If you don't let us know and you come anyway, we can prepare the documents on site at that time just for signature. Again, best practice, please let us know you're coming. It'll save you time. It'll save everybody else time. Yeah. We have other questions from people who aren't along the Wasatch Front. One of our people said, hey, I'm going to be in town in December. Is that too late? We want to get this taken care of now. So if you can't make it in person, it's okay. Let us know. We can email the documents to you, and again, you can return them by mail or via FedEx and just do that. So you can just show up to the deed signing parties. We would much rather have it if you let us know you were coming, so we can have all your documents prepared for you there. Also, if you email me and let me know you're coming, I'll send the documents to you in advance so that you can review them, right? So that you're not surprised by anything the documents say when you get there. Again, let us know you're coming. I can prepare the documents, email them. I will have them printed out there for you. You don't even have to bring the documents with you if you don't want to. And we can get everything signed and notarized then. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Do you need your deed copies? Do you need to bring those with you to the deed signing parties? Unless, like, if you tell me I'm coming and I start to prepare your documents, I'm going to review and I'll tell you, hey, do you have a copy of a deed from this party to yourself? I'll let you know if we need it. If you don't hear from me, you don't need to bring your deed. I already have a copy of it. And I can print the copy of the deed into your, the previous deed if you want that anyway. I can just send that to you or print it to you. I can do that as part of it. That's why, again, these emails to the owners is the hard part. Yeah, that's the hard part is helping the owners with those emails. And it's not that hard. It's not hard. It just takes a little bit of time. The hard work is done, right? The hard work is mostly done as far as the title work is done. Okay, what other questions do we have from our group here?
Looks like the questions have slowed down. I think you've covered everything that you can possibly say about a title. It's bored me listening to it, so.
Oh, I have a question, a specific question about your title is held in a trust. Do you need to deed it to yourselves as individuals before we can deed it to the association? The answer is no. We can deed directly from the trust to the association, and that is A-OK. Yeah. And actually, I've already prepared the deed to the trust. One thing, a lot of people, when they set up their family trust, especially, if it's mom and dad are co-trustees of their family trust. If either mom or dad has passed away or both have passed away, then we're going to need to do a little bit extra work in preparing an affidavit of successor trustee or an affidavit of trusteeship. And what those do is they'll say, hey, the original trustees have passed away. I am the successor trustee of this trust, and here's the evidence of their passing. So we'll need the original death certificates if that's the case. The same thing if you were a joint tenant with a spouse and your husband or wife has passed away. That's not a hard fix. There's a tenancy affidavit and then a quitclaim deed from the remaining owner. We will need the original death certificate in that case. And again, because I've done Google searches on most of you, just trying to find you. For a lot of you, I already know if your husband or wife has passed away. The documents are already prepared. They're already that way. Obviously, that's not going to be 100%, but that's been part of what's been going on for the last year. Yes, you can get your documentation emailed. If you have paid the original $700 before the drop dead date, you are considered current. Again, that Powder Mountain or Powder Ridge Village UT is a great way to check your account balance. Even if you've paid it, it's a great idea just to say, hey, what do you show? How much do you show that I have paid?
There's a question from Ron here that says the email that we sent says Midvale on Tuesday. Presentation says Midvale is on Monday.
Yeah, that's true. We had to switch those dates around. My regular job got in the way, and I'm going to be in a closing in Midvale, and so we had to switch the Midvale and the Provo meeting.
So the Midvale is on what day?
The Midvale meeting, I don't want to get this wrong, so let me go to my presentation because I triple checked that it was right on the presentation. So I'll share that on the screen again. There we go. Okay, Midvale is Monday, August 18th. Okay, Provo is Tuesday, August 19th. And again, if you can't make it one of those dates, that's okay. We can arrange another time for signing, or you can again do it through mail or FedEx for us. That's just fine. Yeah, Ron, that was a fair question. Great question. There was a change on the date. Yep. Okay. Any other questions? We'll wait for a minute or two. But other than that, that's our.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, we have I love the motion to adjourn. We got a second in the room from our other board member,
Dave Pendergast.
Dave Pendergast, who's here with us.
I guess last thing would be to all the owners again to say, please reach out to us with any questions by email, anything that you think about. Any of these questions about where do I go or what do I need to take with me, please just email us and we'll be as diligent as we can to respond quickly and get you set up to get your stuff taken care of.
Yep. I'm trying to convince Dave to become a notary too, so he can help share in the fun. Yeah, both Daves. Yeah, let's just make every board member notaries, and then we can all travel around together. It'll be great. It'll be great. Okay, everyone, thank you again for your time. We appreciate everyone. The owners who are current, the owners who are in arrears. We love and appreciate all of you, and let's work together and get this done. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
I don't know how to turn this thing off, so it's still going. So, hey, the people in the room, watch your language for a minute. Thanks, everybody.